Hey everyone, this is Dan. Today we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. What you're looking at is an 11 by 14 piece of watercolor paper, and as you can see I'm putting a little bit of gesso on it right now. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to put a surface on the paper. We're going to come in with acrylic paint over this, and when I do that I don't want the paper to warp on us or bend up or do anything funny like that. So I'm just coming in with a quick coat of gesso and you know, go through the process, let it dry, and then once it's all dry, then we'll get started with the painting itself. Well, at this point, the gesso is dried, and I have the paper taped down to a piece of 1/2 inch MDF. And I do that just to provide a flat surface and also flatten out the paper so that when we're painting on it, it helps to just keep everything in line and hold it flat. And what we're actually doing today is we're making a painting that's similar to the watercolor painting I did recently. And so the idea behind this painting is that it's kind of like a pattern, and again it gives you the illusion that you're kind of looking through some bushes or through the forest and out into some kind of a clearing or something like that. But I like to begin the painting by coming in with the brighter colors down below, the warm color layer, and I have a couple different yellows, a little bit of an orangish color there, and I haven't come in with the red just yet, but we will do that in just a little bit. And the idea is that I'm creating like a foundation here, and what I really want is I don't want the entire thing to get covered up when I come in with the cool colors on top of this. I do want some of this to show through, but I'm trying to create sort of a lighter area in the page up there towards the top, and then carry that theme through just in a couple of different random places, I guess. And that's what we're doing as we go. One of the things you notice there is I was squirting the paint, and I'm trying to keep everything pretty wet and pretty fluid. And what that is flow aid. It's so it's water mixed with flow aid, and it just kind of loosens up that acrylic paint and it makes it flow better, basically. Here comes the red, I guess I'm coming in with that. And the other thing to take note of is the brush that I'm using is just a really crappy Home Depot brush. I don't know what these things cost, maybe like $1 or something like that. But the reason I like them is it gives you this really textured effect, because the bristles definitely do not come together. They're all really rough and messed up, for lack of a better word. And the brush that I'm using right now is a 1-inch brush. I was previously using, I think, a 2-inch. And so I have a number of these brushes in just different sizes, but they're really good for creating kind of that textured effect that you see there, where you have all of the different bristles showing, or the bristle texture. But we'll just keep going here and keep laying down the warm colors, creating a nice base, and then later we'll come in with the cool colors once that's complete. Now we're ready to get started with some of the cool colors, and I do want to point out or just make note that the warm layers that we put down as our starting point, those are definitely dry. They're fully dry, probably overnight, because I do this early in the morning and then come back the following day and fill it in. One of the things that kind of happened here as I was painting with the cool colors is I was definitely not getting the shades and the color that I wanted. I had done some experimenting with the ultramarine blue and one of those yellows in a sketchbook just to kind of see the color that I wanted, and for some reason I was not able to duplicate it when I was doing it. And so there was a lot of back and forth and mixing of color. You don't really see that much of it in the video here because I've edited a lot of it out, but just know that was going on in the background, and sometimes it's really difficult to get the color you want, or it is for me anyway. And if you notice there, I'm ending up with kind of like a bluish gray, which was definitely not the color I was going for. I was looking for more of a greenish color. I just kind of kept going, and later I was able to kind of get something closer to the green that I was looking for. Still not exactly it, but once I did that, then I started coming in with that. And I guess that's just part of the process is that sometimes you get what you expect and other times you don't get what you expect, and that's part of the randomness in all of this. Now at this point I've managed to get some type of green that is a little bit more in line with what I was wanting to see, and so I'm starting to come in with that, and I'm starting to bring in the greens. And so the idea is really that there are both blues and greens, and so it's kind of sky and then also land, or plants, organic matter if you will. But you can see that I'm doing my best to try to leave portions of the underlayer exposed so that those are coming through without covering everything up. I definitely don't want to do that, and it's just kind of process of filling out the page and leaving some areas to show through. There's also a strong emphasis towards the top of the page to leave that area light, and that creates that illusion of kind of looking through the bushes or looking out into the sun. But it's moving along, and I'm starting to get some more colors that I like. One of the things that I'm starting to do now, you can see, is coming in with more or less a white on top, and that's bringing in even more light and kind of creating the illusion that more of the underlayer is showing through, even though it's not. But it's lightening up the top of the page, and so it's just kind of a matter of back and forth at this point, and trying to fill up the areas while still letting some areas underneath come through. The reality of some of these pattern paintings is that it can be difficult to know when they're done, but at this point I decided that it was done, or at least done for now. So I went ahead and signed the piece, removed the tape using a hair dryer, as you'll see here in just a minute. And if you notice, the tape is kind of going around the side of the MDF, so there's a little bit of work involved to peel it off. The nice thing about using the gesso on the page and then taping over the top of it is that you don't get any ripping. So if you don't do that, what you tend to have is you have a lot of challenges with the paper itself ripping, but putting the gesso on there kind of keeps the tape from ripping the paper itself, and it makes it easier to pull off. I still like to use the hairdryer because it just sort of warms everything up and loosens it off, but the gesso definitely helps quite a bit.